Traditional financial centers are adapting to a new world where the Middle East and Asia are driving rather than following global investment trends. While developed markets wrestle with economic headwinds, an unprecedented $3 trillion in capital spending across the GCC is recalibrating the global investment landscape. For investors, I believe the question is no longer whether to invest in the Middle East region or not, but rather it's about how to harness the full potential of this historic transformation. Investors must consider a few strategic levers: sector diversification, tailored strategies, capitalize on IPO momentum, diversify portfolios with fixed income and skooks, explore private capital and alternative investments, as well as keeping an eye on digital transformation, fintechs, and AI-led services.
To that market, we have actually, and I proudly say so, we have led and delivered the first unicorn in tech into the Saudi exchange through that market. And that was a very good case study for the need for such a platform in the Saudi economy as the economy and the country transforms. Not all companies and IPO candidates will be fit for the main market, which naturally has higher governance and track record requirements. But for example, for smaller companies, for tech companies, for very high growth companies, Numu is the right platform. We have tens of listings every year through that platform. And as Tadawul has announced in their own conference, the CMF last week, which we sponsor and participate in and support, and as they have highlighted today through a lot of their discussions, they see a growing momentum in Numu. So we expect that only to accelerate with wider participation from investors, largely domestically, but increasingly regional and global.
HSBC is a good partner of ADX. They are a trading member and one of our custodians. We participate in this event on a yearly basis. It's an opportunity for ADX staff and management to meet with the clients, with investors, and with other exchanges and witness the development and have fruitful discussions.
So, I mean, this event has obviously morphed or evolved over the last few years into what it is today. It used to be very much about back office, post-trade conversations, but now it's across capital markets, from primary market to secondary to post-trade. So that obviously is a result of the agenda of all the exchanges in the region, where the conversations are happening. It's not in a particular silo. We are obviously looking at developing the market in different segments. So this event is helping us having conversations with our peers who are on the same journey. So this is obviously, it's a welcome development for all the exchanges, including Qatar. Sure. So I think the Qatar story around economic diversification is embedded in the Qatar 2030 vision, which was launched back in 2007, 2008. And it has been implemented, and it is being implemented in three phases. The first phase of the implementation of the vision was for building the national champions. So national champions like Qatar National Bank, Qatar Airways, Qatar Energy, Ooredoo was the original first phase of the development. For the second phase, it has been about infrastructure development that we have seen over the last decade. More than $300 billion were invested into developing the infrastructure, not only for the World Cup, but to develop the roads, the highways, the port, airport, many things that come along to achieving a developed infrastructure in the country. The third phase is about economic diversification, uh, capitalizing on the first phase of national champions and the second phase of infrastructure development. In the third phase, obviously, on the back of this whole LNG expansion program of Qatar Energy, the country's gas output will increase by 85%. And so imagine now that you are an economy where there is not a lot of infrastructure is spent to be done, a lot of capital expenditure is done, but the revenues will go up by 60, 70, 80%. On the capital market side, the financial sector strategy was also launched with the measurable KPIs, and we are, as Qatar Stock Exchange, working towards delivering part of the KPIs that are part of the capital markets, but there are banking sector, asset management KPIs as well.
We have to remember today with the UAE economy over 600, 700 billion dollars, Saudi Arabia $1 trillion plus, these have become now massive inbound and attractive markets. So our clients are looking at expanding locally. But of course, when there are opportunities overseas, and overseas could be UAE into Saudi, Saudi UAE, UAE into Kuwait, Saudi into Oman, we're seeing those regionally. We're seeing investments into Egypt, massive investments into Egypt, but also in the space of technology, in the space of renewable energy, in the space of healthcare. We're seeing global expansions. We're seeing a lot of investments in Europe, but more importantly, the UAE or the GCC Asia corridor is very, very important. Trade has increased exponentially, and we're seeing a lot of attention by Asian investors coming in and us in the region going and investing in Asia.
Yeah, I think HSBC has a really special position here in the region. We've been here for several decades, and we want to really be part of the next journey for this part of the world. We are extremely well positioned for the corridor between Asia and MENA, and it's not only about bringing capital from Asia into the region, but actually also how we can facilitate the GCC looking outside the region and really kind of enrich this corridor between the two regions. When you look at the region, I mean, there was huge events arranged in the last 2 or 3 years, talking about Expo, talking about the World Cup, and really these were dreams that have become true. We want to be part of the next dream and how we can actually really make it a reality. And with this event, having investors, cooperation, talking to each other, we really are in an amazing position.